So again, we're working with general trinomials. This is question 11. Also says factor the polynomial by removing the common factors after grouping. So when it comes to grouping though, this has four terms. So with the four terms, what I usually do is put a box around the first two, and then I put a box around the second two. Notice how I include the minus sign in there. So really that means, what this means if I use the parentheses, 5x squared plus 20x plus then uh, a negative 2x minus 8. So when I do the box, this tells me there's this grouping and there's this grouping. So I just like to just go straight to the box and not use parentheses. So to me, this just tells me to put this in what I call my four square box. So the top row, again, I'm going to go ahead and make four square here because I know this is going to be four terms. So my first two terms goes in the top row, the 5x squared and the 20x. And again, you can put these terms in any order you want, but let's just keep it simple and go in the order that they gave us in. So negative 2x and a negative 8. Like I said, though, these terms can be put in any order. We're just going to put the first two in the top row, the second two in the bottom row. Now, the next thing, notice how it says common factors, removing the common factors. So what we're trying to do now is look at across here and ask ourselves, what does a 5x squared term and a 20x term have in common? Looks like they both have a 5 because 5 does go into 5 and 5 goes in 24 times, so 5 times 4. If this has two x's and this has one x, it looks like they have an x in common. Notice on this next example, they both have a negative in common and they both have a 2 in common. So it looks like we can actually pull out a negative 2 out because they both have a negative and they both have a 2 in common. So if I go across the top now, what we do is ask ourselves, well, if we take the 5x out, what was left? In other words, what times 5x gives me 5x squared? It looks like we're missing an x because we took out an x, so there should be an x left. So if I multiply this 5x times this x, that should give me this 5x squared. Then I move over here to this spot. What times 5x gives me this 20x? Looks like all I need there is a 4 because I already got an x out here. 4 times 5x does give me this 20x. Now notice we've already done this part. X times negative 2 does give me negative 2x. 4 times negative 2 does give me a negative 8. So we've actually completed the whole process once these edges are complete. So this tells me then I can set up two sets of parentheses where 5x minus 2 will be the first factor and x plus 4 would be the second factor. So I usually do this edge and then this edge, but it doesn't matter. You could do x and 4 and then the 5x and minus 2. So the order of these two factors does not matter. But notice how it is now factored. It's this binomial times this binomial. And that's what we're looking for, is factoring it. So we're kind of factoring by grouping, but we actually can use a box as a strategy to group. It works for me, but again, you can use the examples in the book as well.